So welcome to the spoilers discussion for Joker, and there are a lot of spoilers. Well, I don't really know a lot. There's just so much about the actual movie that is a spoiler,
Yeah.
and there was just so many shocking moments we had to talk
It's
about.
really not a spoiler because you know he becomes Joker. I mean, it's called Joker, and you see like, the origins. It's more of just the decisions he does and scenes that happen.
Yeah.
So, as far as kill count goes, he really only kills the Joker himself. Only kills
7.
There was the 3 people on the bus. There's 3 people on there. His mom, the Randall guy, and then the lady at the end, and Robert De Niro. So 7.
Yeah.
So he killed 7 people. That's a lot of people. I mean, but as far as
but
I mean, compared to John Wick, it's not that many. But
well,
still.
but in the way they happen, though, I mean, why don't we just go through?
Let's just go through those 3 scenes, I guess.
Yeah.
So, because what's really what I mean, what else are you gonna really talk about besides decisions? Like we'll talk about that later. But
yeah,
I mean, basically, when he kills the 3 people on the bus, that one I actually felt I understood what he was doing. I mean, he was getting beat up by these 3 guys after they were just making fun of a girl a few minutes before, and they just start to really act over the top, singing, taking the costume and stuff. This is Gotham though, so it's it's believable. It's like a comics, but. As he's getting beat up, he had a gun which someone had given to him a little bit earlier in the movie, and he shoots 2 of the guys in the face and kills them, and then he shoots the other guy in the leg, and he's trying to get away, and he chases him down and shoots that guy, and that's what really starts this whole movement.
That's where you really tell them how brutal he really is.
And that really was the first taste of. It wasn't just that; he did that not really knowing that it was going to spark this whole movement of people, clowns and stuff. There's a whole line of Thomas Wayne, who's obviously the Waynes in this movie. That was a big spoiler right there.
Big spoiler.
Both Martha Wayne's really not. She's in it, but it's not. It's more about Thomas Wayne. And
he's running for mayor.
He's running for mayor, and he calls the people of Gotham clowns, and they all sort of dress up as clowns. And
that was kind of interesting.
And that's what started the movement. He basically unintentionally started. And basically, that was the first killing, and then the guy that gave him the gun, I guess, told the boss that he had bought it from him and lied to him about that, or who knows, maybe the boss is lying about that. Either way, Randall and this midget character walk into his apartment. This is later. I'm jumping in the movie.
Yeah.
But they have a wine bottle for him because his mom just died because he killed his mom. I didn't know that.
Well, yeah, we didn't tell me that one.
So Joker kills his mom by a pillow in the hospital, and that's what leads to Randall and that guy coming over. And this is the most executed scene, I think, as far as killing goes in this movie, is he stabs Randall in the neck, but then just beats his head into the wall, and it just looks so real, and that's really that was one of my favorite one of the best scenes in the movie, I think, as far as kills go.
It was definitely shocking, but then I honestly thought
it was executed so well.
Yeah, but then the midget character actually he's about to get out, and he can't get out because of the lock.
That was a good moment.
I seriously thought though, which I wasn't really laughing because of how disturbing the kill was before, or just how shocking it was. But then I seriously thought Joker was gonna walk over, and I was just waiting for it. He was gonna act like he's getting the lock and then stab him. But instead, he actually lets him go and says, "You were always nice to me." Which is definitely an interesting thing. It's he was the one who was nice, so he actually spares him. So it shows that the Joker, he has some boundaries. He was actually nice.
It's
so
Michael.
Let him go.
Michael doesn't kill babies.
Well, I wouldn't really compare it to Michael. He killed a kid in the car. But the thing that I thought he was about to kill him, but he actually lets him go, and the fact that he was actually nice to him, even though he says that there, but I still think. That really, because the next kill is when he's actually on the show with Robert De Niro's character. I don't even know what his name is. What is his name? The Murray Show?
Something Murray Show.
Yeah, and you saw him practicing this at home about how he was going to be on it. But the thing is, he kills his mom, and then he's practicing to go on it. So you can just tell how gone he is. He's just brushing it off. And he practices, and you see him shoot himself in the head. He pretends to do that. So you think that's what he's going to do. And he even pulls out his book. You think it's the gun. But then finally, he says, "You get what you deserve," and actually shoots him on the show, which was the most shocking moment, at least to me. It's just how raw it was, but how it just came out of nowhere. I did not expect him to do that. Then he goes up to the camera, and then it cuts off, because,
it's kind of a callback to when he's talking to the camera in The Dark Knight, when he has the guy, and he says, "Look at me," and he's talking to the camera, and then it just cuts out in the middle of the scene there. But there's also just the fact that he was actually making some good points leading up to before he shot the guy, because from his perspective, the things that you do feel for him on, he was being made fun of by that show, and acting like they're not bad, but they were making fun of him. He's like, you guys get to decide what's funny and what's not when you're not going out to the streets of real world out there, and how like they're being bad too, and but then he's also making some like the first joke he says is a horrible joke that's like not a joke. He purposely was doing it to like be
Mess
really
up their
dark
show.
and like just to really just throw their show off, and he admits that he killed the 3 people on the train, or whatever the flipping thing's called.
Yeah, it's just crazy.
Down there.
Subway.
And that was a pretty cool moment. Just how shocking it was. And then after that, they arrested him and they're driving to a somewhere, probably jail. And then an ambulance, clowns are just taking over this city in Gotham. Like there's just after that like. People are just thinking this is their night. Like it's like a protest kind of thing. They're destroying cars and stuff. People are trying to like throw stuff around, breaking windows, and all of a sudden, these people take the Joker out of the cop car and put him on top, and then that's like their leader. Kind of a really cool moment, like cool shot from like their perspective in a dark way. He stands up and sees everyone like that's around him, and he finally like accomplished his goal of just like he's this powerful thing now. He knows that he started this thing. He's like starting a movement, and he's just. It's like the culmination of the Joker character. Like that's how he gets to his role. Like, and then that kind of also sets up in all the other future movies how I always wonder why like people serve the Joker. Like every movie, the Suicide Squad, there's always like a cast and crew, like people like dressed up in costumes. Like how did he get these people to always like work for him? Or in the Dark Knight, the whole opening scene when they're robbing that bank. Like this is how it starts because they're all looking up to him. He can just use him whatever way he wants. Like it sets up the Joker character in so many great ways. And that was another thing I just realized just now is it shows why people just follow his like role all the time. 'Cause he's not like he's that overpowering. He's just that influential, really.
Yeah, it's definitely something I was thinking about that is really the main point about this movie is like Dark Knight, he's already established. Suicide Squad, he's already established. I mean, even the old one with, what's his name? The Jack Nicholson, he's already established there. And yeah, all the guys are following him. So it is a really good setup. And this is what I was saying, how I wasn't walking out of the movie satisfied because it shows how all these guys started following him. But then, after you see that established, then you want to see Batman come in. But you have to realize this movie is just setting up how he actually gets recognized and sets up that world.
It also shows...
I seriously think those masks they were wearing at the end of the movie, all of those different clowns, I think those were like the exact same mask they were using in The Dark Knight, which is... I'd have to look at that, but it looks very similar, which I'm sure they did that on purpose because they already showed the similarities between the Waynes and stuff. But
it also showed how the Waynes Thomas and Martha Wayne got killed during that whole like thing after he killed Henry or Murray on the show.
Why was he walking there?
That's pretty stupid for them to walk down a dark alley like that when there being a riot going on. It's not like he's the president of the United States, but he's still a pretty high, rich guy. I wouldn't think he'd just run to the street like that all by himself. And there was some guy. It wasn't actually the Joker, but it was one of the people that was like also dressed up as a clown. Shoots Thomas and then takes the necklace off Martha and shoots her. But then they didn't really like you see Bruce stand there, but then all of a sudden later in the movie, at the end, which you can talk about at the end, but like he's like laughing and the insane asylum workers like what's so funny and he's like. It's just a joke. You wouldn't get it. Then all of a sudden, as he says that, it's an awesome like scene where he's smiling, and it goes back. It just randomly shows Bruce standing there between his parents. Like that must have been he's laughing about that because he's a messed up guy. He's probably happy that he just orphaned that kid, and he maybe that's why he's always wanted to be around Batman because he knows how much he hates him, but he can never get to him and stuff like that. That's why Joker loves. Like he's always laughing. I'm always like, why is he always laughing at the Batman? It's like because he just ruined his life and just all that stuff happened there. Like it really sets the tone and like that relationship between like why does Batman always hate the Joker? And in this particular world, it really ties in why Batman hates the Joker because he caused his parents to die.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and that's something that I had to address. That as far as this is something I had to address, and it's something that was very interesting. Is the thing about Joker actually being a pathological laugher, like laughing uncontrollably and actually like hurts him. And this is something that it had to have been true for most of this movie, but I still don't know by the end if it's actually true. That's a very interesting take because it's kind of perfect that the Joker, his name is the Joker, is laughing like that. So if he can't control it, he eventually just goes overboard on it, and that's what his kind of trademark is. and how there's certain scenes where a lot of the problems he gets is because of it. Like when he's in the subway, he's laughing, he's not meaning to, then he gets beat up because he's like, what's funny?
But then,
and that was a very interesting thing that especially could have drove him to going insane and annoyed, especially during the comedy thing where he can't even do his skit, or he can't even do his, whatever that is. And that's something that I definitely could have found very interesting, that he can't even do it, and that would drive him insane. Then finally he's like, I'm just finally gonna be an insane clown. But then by the end, I guess he says that he was lied to, and maybe he's not doing that on purpose. That's what we don't know, and that's kind of maybe a small little negative I had, is that we don't really have that clarified. But I'm pretty sure he wasn't controlling it. But I know there's different triggers to that in that actual real life thing. But I would have liked to have known that 100% clarified to make sure, because it's important to the story.
Yeah, but I mean, also the fact that I just think that it really is left open to the audience to decide, and I think that he actually was doing it on purpose the whole time. Like there was a couple moments where maybe it wasn't, but I think he's just that insane. He was purposely like taking people off, and just like laughing at people when it, like, even on the bus when the mom said don't mess with my kid. I think he was actually just laughing at that. Just at how stupid she probably was, and just how like triggering he was to everybody else. I think he was actually controlling all his laughs, because there's a lot of times where he laughs and then just stops immediately, especially those ones in particular. Yeah. Like this in the trailer when he's laughing walking in the hallway. That's one where it's just he knows he's doing that, and it's hard to tell because the laugh sounds the same in different scenes. And I just think that I think he was actually controlling that for the most part. Maybe he was part of. I think he was being told that by his mom his entire childhood, and he just believed it was a problem. But then he was doing it the whole time, knowing he was doing it. Because there's a lot of scenes where he thinks stuff's going on and it's actually not going on. The fact that he's with that girl and she's not even there, like that's why I would say
can't believe anything.
I mean, neither side's wrong, but in my opinion, I think he was on the side of more like actually controlling it.
Well, that's true. You can't really. He was lied to, and obviously he's already insane. But I definitely think there's that certain thing where he's laughing and then he like starts choking, and that's the part where I was kind of thinking that's the pathological laughing, because he's like not controlling it, and then you can kind of hear him choke. Like, it actually hurts him, and then he doesn't, like, he kind of has a sad look on his face. But then sometimes he laughs fakingly, like that one down the hall. And I almost feel like he's doing it just because he's, like, sick and tired of laughing. So obviously he was faking to his boss. But I think, obviously you can't really tell, though, what's actually real, because I just figured out after the movie that those scenes with the one girl were fake. I didn't really actually get that until the end of the movie. But, yeah, you can't really tell
it was a quick sequence where, like, it showed him sitting in the hospital with her next to him, and all of a sudden it did the same shot, but with her not there. On the street, she's not there. In the hotel, when he had got there, she wasn't even there. It was just him pretending that, and it just showed that relationship never was even going on. Even on the diner place, she wasn't there for that either. He was just imagining that, because the only other time he saw her was twice, when he saw her in the elevator, and then also
following her.
Well, I don't even think that was real either.
Yeah, well, I kind of thought, I was like, how did she know he was following her?
Yeah, that was false.
She would have never known.
And also at the end when he didn't break in, the door was unlocked, but he walked into her house, and she just told him to get out of there. And that's the only thing they left open, is you don't really know if she was killed or not. You can't really say just because you heard the ambulance.
I didn't even.
You assume that she was dead, because there's an ambulance like every scene when he's inside his hotel or his apartment, and I just think that the overall building of him walking up those steps, just the amount of bad things that happened to him, you really believe, on top of him being mentally ill and stuff, like you can totally see how he went off the deep end. And just then you add in like the Thomas Wayne being told that that's your father, and then maybe he could give you like, that would really help you out financially, and you find out that it's not even real. Your mom had lying to you and everything. Like everything just goes into it. Just makes sense. There was not one part of the movie that seemed like like everything needed to be in it. Like it all made sense to one thing. Nothing just happened randomly, where it's like, oh, that was totally forced in, or like everything seemed to like organically flow into the film.
Well, that's the part I was gonna talk about. Is like, even though literally until the very end is the part where I think it didn't ruin the movie at all. It didn't really, honestly. It's not even a negative, like I said, the non-spoiler. But I just felt the last scene, like the last 10 seconds, just didn't necessarily need to even be there. I felt like it was the same thing, just again, is when it goes back to that hospital, because you already see him broken out, but then you see him captured, and then he kills that girl, and then walks out again. I
He's
just thought,
being chased
I was
again.
like, yeah, then he's in, but like, it's like obviously
over
we
the,
know
over
he's
the
gonna
top run.
Yeah.
His legs were like above his head as he was running there.
yeah, it's like well, we know he's gonna break out, but
Yeah, I
just
mean-
the fact that they showed him in that room, and then like, what's the point of him killing that girl? That was definitely shocking seeing the marks, but it's like, what was really the point of seeing him kill her and then run again? It didn't need to be there. Maybe that one joke, it was like you wouldn't get it, which is kind of neat, but
In my
it
opinion,
didn't need to be in it.
well, no, that scene, that's where it should end. In my opinion, it should have ended with him saying, him looking up at her and smiling and saying, "It's a joke, you wouldn't get it." And then it shows the Bruce standing there next to his dead parents, and then it goes back to him, and it just cuts away. Like that's how I would have ended it. I really wouldn't have ended it.
Maybe showed his
with him.
handcuffs apart or something.
Well, I know that. I mean, I think it just ended. That smile is just a perfect smile of him looking at her. Just ended there after you see him thinking of Bruce and like how he was, because you saw him. He was near Bruce in the movie. Bruce followed him to the gate, and then I guess Alfred. I don't know who it was. Maybe it wasn't even Alfred. But
Alfred.
someone came over and he almost gets strangled. I thought he was gonna get strangled in that scene, but he actually gets away from that.
Well, that's the weird thing though. He
And-
actually didn't strangle him because he looked at Bruce and then didn't strangle him, which is really weird. He looked over at him and then decided not to do it,
Yeah,
which is
so
really interesting.
that's why there's that whole relationship between Bruce and Joker it goes deeper than like just hatred, because there's also like a fact they don't kill each other. Like
yeah, like,
there's a weird
thing.
thing that they play off each other. Like I think they said in other movies they need each other to live and stuff like that. Like
Well,
that's,
yeah, Joker.
it's a
Yeah,
weird
he
thing
said
like
you
that.
complete me in that one. So
yeah. So that's why I would have ended it with him smiling, and then you see that shot with Batman or Bruce like that was one of my favorite things about the movie, just because it's such a boss. Like it's not a boss shot standing next to his dead parents, but it is kind of a boss shot. It's like that's where he started, and he turns into this like alpha superhero like super guy like Batman.
But yeah, to see
It's
that.
such a great backstory.
Yeah, to see that in connection with this whole movie with the Joker
Yeah.
is a lot more crazy than just seeing it in a little flashback.
Yeah, I'm definitely glad they definitely made it into like the Batman storyline of how that happened, because I mean Joker is you don't think about Joker without Batman. You don't think about
They had to do
Batman.
that,
You can see by itself, but because he has other villains. But when you think of Joker, you think of Batman, and you have to think of Batman. That's what he's from. Like, that's the
Yeah.
comics he's from. And yeah, I definitely would have ended it with him being chased in an insane asylum. Probably. I mean, it was still funny, but I don't know. There was a few running scenes in this movie of how fast he was running. I mean, it was a pretty over the top run.
He
It
should
was-
do that himself.
Yeah.
More running than Tom Cruise.
Yeah, I mean, he got the freaking folder from the Arkham Hospital and was booking down the
Give
hallway.
it back.
Yeah, so we covered everything. I think we just covered everything in the movie. Definitely liked it a lot. We both gave it 10s out of 10, and definitely would recommend it if you are even thinking about seeing it. Even if you're not, I'd still maybe go check it out. Obviously, this is not for kids. It's rated R. Don't bring your kids to the movie. But thanks for watching our spoilers discussion of the Joker. Let us know down in the comments what you guys thought of this movie. And be on the lookout for, I think we're going to do a video on the, kind of keeping on topic of the Joker. We're going to do a video on the Harley Quinn, okay, so it's called The Birds of Prey,
The
The
Emancipation
Emancipation of one Harley
Proclamation of the...
Quinn, whatever. It's a really long title, but we're going to do a video on that, because we have seen the trailer come out, and we both actually liked it. And
Yeah.
so we're going to do a quick kind of, not very long, but just a video breaking down a little bit some of the shots of that. And hopefully, we're going to get a Godzilla vs. Kong poster or movie in the next year or so, and then we can make some videos on that. So thanks for watching, and we'll see you guys in the next video. Bye, guys.